Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. It's Andy Brownell with News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. And I am joined from far, far away by Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning. I am perched at the kitchen counter looking out at the most beautiful turquoise-colored blue water that I've ever seen in my life in the Atlantic Ocean. We are in Turks and Caicos, and it is amazing. Never been here before, but we'll definitely be back.
Wow. So my geography's right. That's near the Dominican Republic?
Yes, near the Dominican, near Haiti. So I think we're like 1,000 miles south of Miami, 1,000 miles, something like that. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh.
It's warm here, but it's kind of gloomy, so good for you.
I've learned, well, today is the last day, so we fly out of here at 2:30 this afternoon. But it's been a really nice week. We came Monday, and, you know, that's about as long as I can be away from work and my parents and life in general. But I have worked quite a bit from here this week, and I have to tell you, if you're going to work remotely, I'd highly recommend Turks and Caicos. It's a nice place to be working remotely. No doubt about it.
So
I even stopped and visited a RE/MAX office here on the island.
They have a RE/MAX office.
They have a RE/MAX office. We have RE/MAX everywhere.
I guess so.
Yes, it's small, but they sell some pretty darn expensive places. I'll give you a few of the available listings just in case you're interested, okay?
Okay.
One bed, one bath bungalow. They call it a house, but one bed, one bath, and 1,026 square feet on the beach. $1,025,000 US.
The key was on the beach.
$1,025,000. Yep. And then there's a little one bath studio apartment, no bedroom, just a bath and a living room and kitchen all in one. And that one's 484 square feet, and it can be yours for just a mere $387,500.
400 square feet.
Almost 500. 400.
Almost 500.
Then, if you want an apartment, we call them condos, they call them apartments. But if you want a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment that overlooks the ocean, 1,800 square feet, $1,495,000.
Well, you know,
getting better.
You're paying for a paradise.
So these are the two that caught my eye because we're staying in a private residence, and I was trying to figure out, you know, how much this would be. It's very nice, and it's on the beach, and it has a pool and 4 bedrooms, 5 baths. Big. I mean, it's a nice house, but I was just curious what it would be. So I looked up 4-bedroom, 4-bath houses, and I found a cheap one, 4 beds, 4 bath, but not on the ocean. Close, not too far, but $3,495,000. And then I found another one that has just a little less square footage than this one. I think the one we're in has 2,600 square foot. And the one that I found, 4 bed, 4 bath, 2,400 square feet on the ocean, $10 million.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you, the house that we're staying in is nice, but in the U.S. it would not be anywhere near $10 million.
But I imagine those are pretty small islands, so there can't be a lot of homes available. There are not. I think, what he had for his listings, I'm sure there's other real estate companies as well, but he had on all of the islands. So Turks and Caicos is several islands. We're on Provinciales, and then there's Grand Turks, there's East Caicos and West Caicos. Those smaller ones, very few people live on those. And so the tourists are mostly here. This is where the airport is. And, there's an airport on Grand Turks as well, but this is where a lot of people come. We saw a boat in the harbor yesterday, and we looked it up, and the guy who owns it owns this whole big subdivision right here on the ocean, so he must have been a land developer, a very smart land developer. And he has this big old ship, I don't know, it's his yacht in the harbor, and we looked it up, and it was
$250 million or some.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And they said he like VRBOs it for what did they say? $250,000 a week. He VRBOs it. So people rent it out with a crew for $250,000 for a week.
That's Powerball type of money.
Yeah. Or really smart developer in Turks Caicos. Apparently this island hasn't been around. I mean, the island's been here forever, but like it didn't become a tourist place until Club Med opened in 1983. That was the first resort here. And so that's really only 40 years ago. And so it's relatively new. And I guess what I'm thinking is it's the closest to being in the U.S. as far as like restaurants and food and grocery stores, except for the prices. Oh my gosh. Do you know that a gallon of gas here is $7.07? And
I'm sure they have to ship everything there.
Right. Gallon of milk, $9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a pricey place. I feel bad for the people who live here because I don't know how they afford it. I mean, it's a really pricey place to live.
That's a British territory, I think.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah. So this is what I say. Great place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live here.
Well, if I could afford to live there, maybe I would like to live there.
I don't know. I would get island fever for sure. It's funny. We were on a chartered boat yesterday, and I asked the boat captain. She's a young gal, 38 years old, the only woman boat captain in Turks and Caicos. And she was telling me about her apartment because I was asking her. Of course, I'm always interested in real estate. And she said she lives in a very tiny apartment that she rents, and she pays $1,800 a month, and then another $400 a month for her electricity bill.
Oh wow!
$2,200 a month for just rent and electricity. For a tiny bedroom, a tiny one-bedroom apartment.
Well, hopefully they pay her well as a captain.
Yeah, she's the only woman captain in the whole Turks and Caicos, and she's been doing it. She's only 38 years old, and she's been at it for 20 years. So she's been captaining a boat since she's 18 years old.
So, curiosity question. If you fly down there, do you have to do a puddle jumper, or do you fly right to the airport in a jet?
No, on this island, in a jet. Yeah.
Oh wow! Okay.
We came right to the airport. Yeah.
Nice.
When you're flying over it and you look at it, you're thinking, "Ooh, boy, I hope you're good at what you do." But we got here just safe and sound. Yeah. I've been wanting to come for a long time, and definitely I'll come back. It's beautiful.
And there's something when you're in that part of the world, the sand or something makes the ocean look just so like paradise.
Oh, yeah. It's the white sand below the water is what it is. And the sun's shining down on it. Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous. But anyway, I have been checking back with my team to see what's going on at home this week. And just like I predicted, things are getting crazy busy. There's the oldest rule in real estate, and that is go on vacation and all hell will break loose. But the other part of it is I knew after the Labor Day holiday things were going to start picking up again. And certainly that is what's happening.
You did predict it. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about what's happening with Robin Gwaltney. Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Before Bamboo
There's only 30 seconds to tell you that Arby's has a 4 for $10 classic roast beef sandwich deal going on right now. Arby's has 4 for $10 roast beefs right now. Whew. Kind of rushed through telling you about the deal. Maybe Arby's will fill the rest of the time telling you about Arby's famously tender, thin-sliced roast beef that comes on all 4 sandwiches for only $10. Gonna have to see. Might not be enough time. Arby's, we have the meats.
Limited time only at participating U.S. locations. Classic size only.
I feel like crying just thinking about
Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE/MAX results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE/MAX results from paradise. I'm jealous, but
for a few more hours, and then it's off to the airport and back home to reality.
So, you mentioned things are starting to heat up in the Rochester area real estate market.
Yes, I've had quite a few calls while I was here this week. I have some new listings coming on the market, of course, because of the MLS rules. I can't talk about the details, but by next week I'll be able to tell what they are. But yeah, we've got some nice new listings coming on, including some new lots for in a development. So some exciting stuff. And then we've received offers on 3 of our listings while we've been here. So thank goodness we have an amazing team at home who can just seamlessly handle it. So things are, picking up just like I predicted they would, and I think that's what we're going to see for the rest of September and October, and I'm going to guess even into November that we'll stay pretty steadily busy before we have a natural slowdown for the holidays. So it's definitely a great time to get out there and buy a house because there's more inventory to choose from, and it's also a fabulous time to get your house on the market. So don't hesitate. Do not, whatever you think, do not feel like you've missed the season or missed the market, because that is absolutely not the case.
You know, the fall season, do the colors, can it help, stage a house?
Well, especially places that have, the wooded lots. Like I have a couple of listings that have a couple of acres of woods, and I will definitely, if they're not sold when the leaves turn, I will definitely get new photos and put them out there, because who isn't enticed by that? I mean, It's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Even though I'm sitting here looking at this perfect scenery, there is no place like Minnesota to live. I mean, our prices are still so reasonable. I mean, come on, guys. $1,025,000 for a 1-bed, 1-bath bungalow with 1,000 square feet. Sandy Beach or not, that is not much for your money. I mean, you can still buy a crazy amount of house for $1 million in Minnesota.
Yeah, and there's a price to pay for paradise, right?
That's the darn
Hurricane Alley. You've got.
Yeah, it's coming. We're here right before the hurricane season, apparently. So it sounds like next week, right after we leave, there's going to be a tropical storm. So I'll just be home in the Minnesota fall. Perfect weather. It'll be good. Looking forward to that.
Well, fantastic. I'm interested. Have you seen anything as far as? The prices are locally, are things, I guess what I'm asking, are we still in that normal kind of steady, kind of
definitely
balanced market phase?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you're asking me, have things started to drop below market value? Absolutely not. Things are still selling at market value. They're getting top dollar. The only time we're seeing price reductions or houses being bought for less than ask is when the things were simply overpriced. And they were overpriced for a very valid reason. It's because they were using comps from the past 6 months.
Right.
And in the past 6 months, prices were still really grossly inflated. So people were getting over market value. We're simply not now. Houses are selling for what they're worth. You're no longer paying over the value of the property. There's no more writing in that my buyer will pay the difference between the appraised price and the sale price. There's none of that, because houses are going to appraise for what they sell for now, because they're selling for market value.
I think I saw a headline this week that was, oh, goodness, I wanted to say existing home sales were down. This is nationally, of course.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like 5%. But that was compared to a year ago.
Well, yeah, come on.
You're right. I thought, wow, that's not bad at all when I thought about it.
That means we're going 90 miles an hour instead of 100. Yeah, that's 5% down from a year ago is nothing.
Yeah, and I think pending sales were down like 1% from a year ago once again. So it's not a market downturn or anything like that, or crash, or whatever you want to describe it as.
No, it's a very healthy market. Healthy market. Don't miss it, guys, honestly.
Yes, and my daughter is finally, it was yesterday, is now a homeowner.
Done hers? Oh,
she's
yay.
now a homeowner. Yep.
Yay. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that RE/MAX Results all the way up in Duluth was able to help her. That's awesome. That is the best part about belonging to such a large company. I mean, we have such a huge presence in Minnesota and Wisconsin that no matter who I have moving to whichever neighborhood, whichever one of those towns or cities, I have somebody there that is an expert realtor, which is great. And that's just within my company and within my brokerage, RE/MAX Results, okay? So then if I think about my brand, RE/MAX, then I can find you a real estate agent right here in Turks and Caicos. I just met one. I mean, anywhere you want to go, there is a RE/MAX agent that I actually know, and I know that they're very successful, and I attend a lot of meetings with them and do a lot of online masterminding with them. So I have really competent connections to great realtors, I should say really good connections to competent realtors all over the country and world.
Well, it went down exactly as you described when you have talked about this previously. When my daughter decided to buy a house, and she was stuck with the quandary of, well, where do I go to find a realtor? And I said, perhaps somebody I can talk to.
I have connections.
So I reached out to you, and right away you pointed her in a direction, and so thank you.
Yes, I'm so happy Brock was able to help her because he's amazing. He does a fabulous job.
Yeah. Well, why don't we take a quick break, and we'll come back in just a few seconds and talk more with Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group-RE Results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Work, the kids' practices, household errands. Seems like
Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We are back with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE Results on this Saturday morning, and I hate to even bring this topic up just because it's a reminder that the snow will be flying sooner than I would like, at least where I'm at, not where you're at right now.
I was going to say, it's hard for me to even really wrap my head around snow flying right now.
Yeah, well, it's still, even here, it's still hard to grasp that we're 8 weeks away from, potential snowfall or even earlier. But what I'm getting at is the topic I'm bringing up is getting our homes ready to weather the winter, because
change of the season.
Yeah, you've mentioned so many times that the condition of your home is such a huge deal when it's time to put it on the market. And it's these little things we can do every single year that make such a huge difference, right?
Exactly. And so, well, first of all, there are some things like get your gutters cleaned out, because, not quite yet, but after the leaves are done falling, get your gutters cleaned out, because if you don't get your gutters cleaned out, what happens is all those leaves freeze solid in there. And then when the heavy rains come in the spring, the gutters are useless because they're full of frozen dirt and leaves. So it's simple things. So if you're listening, make a list, okay? Make sure that before you go into the dead of winter, your gutters are cleaned out. Another thing is check your batteries and your thermostats, because with these electronic thermostats, if your battery goes dead, your thermostat doesn't work, and therefore your furnace won't run. If that happens right now, no big deal. If right now you've got your air on and it quits, you're not going to, you're going to notice it, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, I got to have the air. And certainly once it starts to get cool and the furnace kicks in. But when we get to the dead of winter, if all of a sudden your furnace stops because your battery died, you're going to notice it. And worse yet, if you're away at work, or worse yet, out of town trying to escape. I'm going to check out Turks and Caicos after I sold it so hard this morning. But anyway, wherever you are, if your battery dies and your furnace stops, it can be disastrous, because clearly your pipes will freeze, and if you've ever been there, not a fun place to be.
I know somebody that happened to them. They were on vacation and everything was frozen, and it was, oh my gosh, what a mess.
Disaster, just a disaster. So that's a good one. And then I always tell people, well, I don't know, different people have different philosophies about when you should change the batteries in your smoke detectors. But Scott and I, because we both have fall birthdays, we always say, okay, let's, between your birthday and my birthday, let's change all the batteries in the smoke detectors. So it's something that you want to make sure you do and keep those working, because again, if there were a fire, people start doing fires in the fireplaces. Fall time, people start to light candles because they like the smell of it, or the, ambiance. just make sure that your smoke detectors are working. So in case of a fire, I think I've told this story before on here, but we had that happen once when we were living at the RBC house. We had a big open house and lit all of our candles. Well, one of them didn't get blown out, and it was on the top of the piano. And when we were sleeping at night, the piano caught on fire, and woke up in the middle of the night to the smoke alarm, thank God. And we looked down the hall and saw all we could see is orange blaze. Oh my God, it was so scary. So it was just a disaster. So I don't use candles in my house anymore, except for on a rare occasion if they're in a glass jar. But normally I just buy those little battery flickery ones, and they're just fine for me. They do the trick.
I'm with you. That's been a change over the last few years, that those have improved greatly in the way they look.
Yes, they look really awesome. And my own dad said, "Oh, blow that candle out." I said, "Oh, Dad, that's just a battery. That's not a candle." he couldn't believe it.
But firefighters will tell you that the candles, especially if they're, people like to put them in their windowsills.
Yes.
And then they're next to drapes or curtains. And there's a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, ours was completely my fault. Sometimes they make these little candles that look decorative, and it looked like Christmas packages, and it was in this little Santa sleigh and horses on top of the piano, and it wasn't one that was meant to be lit. But I asked a couple of the boys, go around the house and light all the candles. So they did exactly what I said, and that was just a candle that I didn't expect to be lit, and it started to burn down inside the candle but remained burning. And so when it finally, the hot wax dripped, and then eventually the hot wick fell out, and anyway.
Well, thank goodness the smoke detectors worked.
It did, and the fire department was quick, and it wasn't, all we did was basically, it didn't even ruin the piano. They had to redo the top of it. So, I mean, it was all good.
But the other one is the carbon monoxide detectors.
The carbon monoxide detectors. Oh, and this one isn't so life-threatening, but don't forget to take your hoses off, because once you leave those hoses attached to the house and we get a solid freeze, you're going to be sorry. So a lot of times, people who are first-time homeowners, these things seem so easy and so logical, and they seem like, well, of course, everybody knows that. But believe me, my first winter in my house, I had no idea I had to take the hose off. And my dad came over, and it was, November, and he's like, why is that hose on? I'm like, what do you mean? I haven't taken it off. And he's like, oh, you got to take that off. And thank God for us, for whatever reason, it was kind of under the deck or protected, so it never froze hard and didn't cause any damage. So we lucked out, but that's not the case for everybody. And you've had it happen.
Yeah, we had the hose disconnected, and then for some reason, I think a car got washed or something that was hooked back up again, and the person who washed the car never undid it. And of course, the next spring we discovered what damage that can do.
Not to throw you under the bus or anything, Jerry.
I didn't say that.
Whoever did it, whoever may have done it. Oh, brother.
Well, thank goodness it was in the utility room, so the damage was minimal, but still it was a mess.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of maintenance. And, because we do live in Minnesota and we have the change in seasons, the home maintenance is so important because, a lot of times people think that they have maintenance-free siding. Well, in Minnesota, that's questionable. You still want to make sure your caulk is intact and water's not going where it's supposed to, because after a hard winter's freeze and then a rapid thaw, you just don't want water going where it's supposed to. You want to make sure it's being diverted to where it's supposed to go.
Yeah, because this fall we're going to see a lot of rain. It always happens.
Oh yes, absolutely. So hopefully, if you are new to being a homeowner, or if you have some minor maintenance issues that need to be addressed before winter, I know it can be hard to find people to do that. We happen to have a maintenance guy that works with us exclusively, and definitely if you're looking for somebody, call us up, because he's more than likely willing to take on some jobs. And so if you need some help getting prepared for that winter that's coming up right around the corner, let us know if we can help you.
There again, more full service from the Gwaltney Group.
We try.
Well, Robin, you enjoy your last few hours in paradise before you have to return to the
ride home.
The harsh realities of Minnesota. No, you've actually missed some very, very nice weather in Minnesota.
I have heard. Yes, I have heard. I've gotten text messages from friends saying they were in their pools, and I mean, of course, happy. The longer the weather stays nice at home, the better it is for all of us.
There you go. But while you're on vacation, you're still available, but your team is also available. So, right?
Absolutely.
How do we do that until you're back, or how do you want to handle that?
Absolutely. Well, I've been answering my phone all week. Now, today it'll be tough because I'll be on the airplane, but you can reach out to anyone on the Gwaltney Group, and our website is GwaltneyGroup.com, and that's GWALTNEYGROUP.com, and there will be a whole crew of people willing and ready to help. And then I'm back tomorrow.
Okay, so if you want to call tomorrow, what number should I call?
Absolutely, 507-259-4926.
All right. Well, I won't keep you any longer. Enjoy the last few hours of your vacation, and thanks so much, Robin. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right, Robin. Bye. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on Newstalk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.
This